Welcome to another episode of Chris's Knits. I'm Miss Chris, and today I will be working on the shirt that I have been working on for the last couple of weeks. You can easily see that there are pieces of it. Here's an arm. Here's an arm. Here's the neck. Here's the other arm. There you go. We got almost a shirt here. Guys, look at that. Almost a shirt. So I will be working on this, almost a shirt, while I tell you another story from the great historical mythos of Japan. If that's something that interests you, I would like you to stick around. See what you think. It's an interesting story for sure. Well, here I am working on the same project I was working on last time we met up. And last time we met up, we were talking about the creation of Japan, and also the creation and birth of the gods. Now, last we left our gods. One of them was dead, stuck in the land of the dead. That would be Izanami. And Izanagi had run away from her like a giant chicken. And he had put a boulder keeping her trapped in the land of the dead. And as he did this, after he left the land of the dead, he decided to wash his face. And from one of his eyes came the sun goddess Amaterasu, the firstborn. From the second eye came the moon god Tsukuyomi. And from his nose came the sea god Susanoo. I mean, these names. What are you going to do? But anyway, so that happened, and Amaterasu was declared that she was going to inherit heaven because she was the oldest. She was also married off to Tsukuyomi, the moon god, whatever his name is. She was married off to the moon god, and she was going to be the main ruler of heaven and earth. Now, I've heard of middle child syndrome, but this is not middle child syndrome. This is youngest child. I didn't get what I wanted, throwing a tantrum system. Susanoo went nuts. He just went crazy. He destroyed parts of heaven. He was just he killed some of Amaterasu's serving maids. He wrecked stuff. He broke stuff. He just went absolutely crazy. And Amaterasu could not handle that drama. She was like, I don't even know what to do with this. This is just craziness. So, heaven is in a disarray. She's been declared the new queen of heaven. She can't handle the drama. She can't handle the stress. She needs to take a vacation. Oh, the sun goddess taking a vacation. Interesting. That's quite common in quite a few myths. But let's move on. So, Amaterasu, she didn't really plan it as a vacation, more of a, I'm going to run away from my responsibilities and I'm going to run away from what just happened right now because I can't handle this. So she ran away and she hid herself in a cave. Now, what do you think happens to the world when the sun hides away in a cave for several years? Let's think about that. It's constant winter. Now, this was negatively affecting the human world. This was negatively affecting the heavens world. It wasn't working out. Everybody was being negatively impacted by this situation. And so, one of the goddesses of knowledge and a goddess of dance came up with a plan. They were going to get Amaterasu to come out of her cave and bring light back to the world. Now, how are they going to do this? With nude dancing, of course. We don't question myths. We don't question myths here. Anyway, so they decide that the Dawn goddess is going to dance nude and provocatively in front of the cave, and that all the gods and goddesses are going to gather around and express their enjoyment of this. So there's going to be a big hullabaloo outside the cave, like, things are going great, woo hoo hoo, yeah, kind of stuff. And then, so Amaterasu goes to her, like, the front, she just hears this commotion. People are having a good time. She's like, what is going on out there? And they tell her, Amaterasu, there has been a new goddess born who is so beautiful. She's more beautiful than you. Now, Amaterasu's like, more beautiful than me? I'm the sun. More beautiful than me? No way, right? So she decides to look out of the cave. But oh, that tricky goddess of wisdom. I should just give up on names. That tricky goddess of wisdom had put a mirror in front of the entrance of that cave. So when Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun, came out, she discovered her own beauty. And she was so floored by this beauty that she came out. She did end up apologizing for the whole kerfuffle to all the other gods in heaven. And like, sorry, I like ran away and hid myself in a cave. And the rest of the gods were like, yeah, that stuff that Susanoo did was it was a lot, so we're not mad at you or anything. But you know how we declared you the leader of heaven, we're also going to declare you the leader of earth. And she was like, guys, I couldn't handle a rampage. You giving me the leadership of heaven and earth is a little bit too much for me. So she handed the leadership of earth to one of her descendants. Holy, something like that. Anyway, whatever. He was humanish. And then so Amaterasu's up there ruling heaven, her kids down here on earth ruling earth. And so her descendants became the emperors of Japan. They were the descendants of the goddess of the sun, basically the main god of the pantheon. And which is how they showed that they were their divine right to power in Japan. So now we have the goddess of the sun through a hissy, the goddess of the sea through a hissy, chased away the goddess of the sun. And so now there's all this drama in heaven, right? So Susanoo is eventually, like, oh, I gotta apologize to Amaterasu. This is not good shit. This is not good stuff. I gotta do something. So he decides to apologize to Amaterasu, but he's still mad. He's like, why do you get to be in control of everything? You're just a girl and whatever. So they decide to have a competition. Who can create the most gods out of an object? And so they both put in an object and the other one creates gods out of it. And so Susanoo, I don't know, Susa something. He's like, I created 5 gods, you created 3 gods, ha, I am better than you. And Amaterasu was like, yeah, you created 5 gods out of my artifact. Your artifact is only good enough to create 3 gods, so actually, I'm the winner. Thus, not healing the relationship at all. and more tension between the siblings. Ah, the joys of having siblings. But yeah, so that's the story. Amaterasu hid in a cave because Susanoo went crazy and destroyed all of heaven because he wasn't in charge of stuff. He was being a whiny little you know what. That's the story. There's some speculation that this is either a story that describes an eclipse or the story that describes winter. Now, if this is the story that describes winter, there's also a short aside where they say that Amaterasu, due to this hiding in the cave time, was embarrassed about her actions. And so every winter she dims. The light of her dims because she kind of feels bad about it. But if it's about an eclipse, if it's about the day and night cycle, there's different explanations about that. How this story relates to an explanation of how the world is. Most mythos are actually about how the world is, why things are the way that they are. Why does the sun cross the sky? Why is the sea so terrible? Why are there tsunamis? It's because Susanoo's a jerk. So all these myths and legends and things were created in order to explain what happens in the natural world. And so Amaterasu stay in the cave also created to explain the natural world. And thus ends the story that I've decided to tell you today. I hope you enjoy my storytelling style. I hope you enjoy the fact that I am crocheting while I tell you this story. That it makes you feel like you're sitting at your grandmother's knee, listening to stories from the old country. Except I hope I'm more funny than your grandma. Except I hope that I'm more funny than your grandma. Someone told me this wasn't loud enough. I'm funnier than your grandma, right? Anyway, subscribe!